Yeah, Twitter is basically a really simple utility. My name is Biz Stone, and I'm the co-founder of Twitter Incorporated. We ask one question, what are you doing? And you have 140 characters to answer that. It's about 2 sentences. You answer it, and it goes out only to the people who want that answer, people who have asked for that answer. And they can receive it on their phone or on the web or on one of many of our API projects. And the idea is that that's what it is. It's a communication utility, like almost like email or telephone. But it's this different kind because it's somewhat open, somewhat public. Humans are great, obviously, at communication. We do a ton of stuff, and we invented all these great things. But I still don't think that we have that kind of intuitive group-like abilities like you see in an ant colony, or like a flock of birds moving as one, or a school of fish, or any of these things that when you look at them, it's like this magical thing. But that's not based on anything that sophisticated. I mean, you look at a flock of birds, the reason why they're able to move like that is this bird's just watching this guy's left shoulder, or whatever. He moves that way, I'm moving this way. But on the whole, it's just this amazing, magical thing. And that's all Twitter really does, is we just focus on, okay, they're short messages, let's route them to where they need to go to, and we make sure we can do it on as many devices as we can, whether it's phone, web, or API projects. But let's just stick to some simple rules and let people stick to some simple rules, and then the magic will happen, And I still think there's a long way to go in terms of humans unlocking the kinds of communication that we're capable of doing. Not just speed and efficiency, but also this beauty aspect of it as well. The most obvious appeal has nothing to do with us, and it's just that people always gravitate towards finding ways to communicate with each other efficiently, share with each other their emotions, their thoughts, whatever. I mean, people are always going to do that. So we just try to invent tools that allow people to do that in different ways, in more efficient ways. Maybe it follows everywhere they go through mobile. And that was one of our, aspirations, is to get people away from the computer and allow them to do this kind of stuff everywhere. People are gravitating more towards, and it's not just Twitter, like comments on blogs, MySpace, Facebook, whatever you want to call it. We're choosing to communicate openly, and because we're doing that, other people can see what we're talking about. And as we get, maybe we emerge as an expert on some subject, like I was doing early on with blogging, someone sees your stuff and says, you know what, hey, you want to write a book for mine? We're looking for somebody like you to write this. And that's what happens. Like, these are the kind of, I'm calling it social alchemy, because you can look at one Twitter update and you can say, you said that you're in the airport in Boston. That's lame. That's lead. But if someone else gets it who happens to be in the airport and they're like, oh, Biz is in the airport, I think I'm going to find him and have a beer. And you get together and you talk about a new company, and you start a new company and make $1 billion. Now that's gold. And it was turning lead into gold, So I think this idea of open communication, even if it's just simple, has huge value for people. So there's the social component, and so you talk about a tool, you talk about okay, where are we all going to meet for drinks tonight, or what's a real easy way besides Evite or some a service that lets you plan a party. I don't want to plan a party, I just want to plan a couple of friends and some drinks tonight at wherever. That's a nice, easy social tool. If you talk about, then you get into the commercial use case, which we're seeing, which we're surprised by because it's not initially something we had completely mapped out. And then there's all the media. There's the news aspect of it, and I think I'm really fascinated by that because if you look at, for example, 2 weeks ago there was an earthquake in Southern California, and the earthquake struck at 11:42 a.m. And at 11:42 a.m. also we saw the first Twitter messages coming in. So that's in the same minute. The earthquake is essentially still going on from some perspective. And people are Twittering, they're on their way to school, they're on their way to work, they're at the doctor's office, and they're Twittering from Los Angeles what they're feeling, what's going on, what's shaking, what they feel like. 9 minutes later, the Associated Press put out a 57-word wire service that says there's been an earthquake in Southern California. In those 9 minutes, we saw 3,600 individual Twitter updates, all with the word quake in them. So, back of the hand, envelope math, we had 50,000 words. We had a book of sort of primary accounts of the earthquake in that 9-minute gap before the traditional wire service was able to get to the story. And we don't have, we're not traditional news, so we didn't have all the data in there. But we had the speed, and I think when you're talking about a tool, when you're talking about historically, for whether it's social, whether it's business, whether it's scientific or whatever, getting information somewhere quickly is one of the most valuable things you can do on the planet. I think that's where a lot of the value of Twitter comes in, and it's that real-time nature of it. So if you think about the AP They're a news feed of news around the world that they, as soon as they can get it together, get their people to write it and get it on the wire, it'll be out there. But Twitter has a global user base sending in messages every single second of what they're thinking, what they're seeing, and what they're doing, and that's one feed that we have, and it comes in real time. So whether it's the future of news or is something else to be discussed, but I think it's at least complementary and it's at least fast. And I think what it's doing is it's just making us a lot more connected. We're getting our information a lot faster. We have this new kind of sense, this new kind of ambient awareness, some people are calling it, where we just have this like, I know what my friend Jack is doing right now. Even though I'm talking to you, I know what he's doing. I know what my sister's doing in Boston. I know, what's going on with the Mars Phoenix lander on the planet Mars. Just because this information is available to me all the time. I mean, I've definitely heard, I've heard positive and negative. Some people say, like, I wish I could say more. And to that I just say, well, then you should look for another service because there's plenty of ways to say more. I mean, on the internet, there's no lack of, go as much as you want. But what I've heard from other people, especially people who do some writing and things like this, are, I love it because it really forces me to get that thought really succinctly boiled down to just what I wanted to say. Well, I think Twitter has to become, in order for it to really realize its full potential, I think it needs to become a global utility, and in order to be that, I think it needs to be reliable. So it needs to be ubiquitous around the world. People need to be able to count on it. We need to be able to build more on it. Ultimately, maybe it fades away, and you don't know you're using Twitter. You just know that your messages are getting routed to where they need to get to, and you don't really care that it's actually going through our system. The ultimate goal is to just become, a very broad-reaching utility.
When we watch them turning and wheeling, how often have we wondered what holds such birds together in their flight? Communication is that which links any organism together. It is communication that keeps a society together. And though these people seem unaware of each other's existence, neither looking nor speaking, one group meets and filters through the other, with hardly two individuals coming in contact. So constant is the flow of information, and so complex the web of communication that keeps them apart and holds them together.